Well, actually, well, it is morning. It's only like 11. I usually film a lot earlier in the morning than this, but I was playing Stardew Valley, so whatever. Anyways, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I have a lot of new things coming for you guys. I'm gonna go on a ski trip this weekend with some friends, so I'll have a fun little, kind of outside my usual, like, book author related content. Just some, like, just like a fun little ski vacation, so it'll be a little outside my normal stuff that I'm probably gonna film this weekend. But today, so as you guys know, in the last video we finished draft 3 of Soul Resonance, and I sent it to, we hit about 80,000 words, and I sent it off to some of my beta readers to read, so like my sister, a couple of friends of mine, so all my beta readers are reading the book right now. So while they're reading it, I'm obviously not working on it, because I need them to read it and then get the collect their feedback from it, and then we'll go back in and we'll start working on draft 4 based on their feedback. So what we're gonna do in the meantime is we are gonna start kind of not like heavy like plotting, because I am nowhere near ready to start a plot, but we're gonna start working on the next book that I had an idea for. We're gonna kind of step away from the Grimborn series for a little bit, so I'm not gonna work on book 2, Soul Shadows, right now. Soul Shadows is like mostly plotted, but I'm not working on that one just yet. I don't want to really get too far into working on Soul Shadows before I have like a definitive final draft of Soul Resonance, just to make sure that it's all like consistent. I don't want to start working on Soul Shadows and then change a bunch of stuff in Soul Resonance, and then it gets messy that way, so we're just not going to do that. So instead, we're going to start working on the new fantasy, I'm going to say concept that I have. It is, okay, so it's kind of like a pirate story, but it's not like Pirates of the Caribbean, we're like on the ocean kind of thing. No, see, that's been done before. Everybody, when they do pirate stories, they're like the ocean, the sea, the beaches, whatever. Everyone does that, okay? And I really like to get a little outside the box and get really creative with my concepts. So my vision is, if you've seen One Piece, this is gonna make me seem like a huge nerd, but if you've seen One Piece, specifically the Skypiea arc, okay, you know how like everything's like in the clouds, like the clouds are the ocean kind of like situation. It's also like One Piece was like part of my inspiration for it, but also if you've ever seen the movie Stardust, based on the book by Neil Gaiman, I've honestly never read the book. I've only ever seen the movie, and I was like a kid when I watched it, so my like memory of it is very fuzzy. But anyways, I really loved the idea in there of Captain Shakespeare with his like flying ship. So I've really been intrigued by this idea for a while. Actually, I've had this idea honestly a little bit longer than I've had the idea for Soul Resonance. I think I came up with the idea for this like, oh gosh, almost like 3 years ago now. But it's like pirates, but there is no land. It's like if you took Jupiter with all of the like gas, like a gaseous planet like Jupiter, where everything's just like clouds, and then the clouds were the ocean, and they're like little floating islands, and that was like the land where the people live is like these like floating islands. Obviously, based on the way I'm just talking about this right now, I don't have a lot of a concept. I don't even really have a world built yet. I have an idea for different aspects of plot. I really like the idea of using mythical species, like dragonborns, selkies, asimirs, which are like kind of like angels almost. So I really like the idea of using like non-humanoid species in this, instead of it just being like humans and we live in this other planet, like whatever. I really like the idea of using mythical fantasy species. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna start kind of trying to build this world that I have envisioned in my head, and try to like, as we build the world, the story comes with it. I mean, that's kind of my method. Like, if you build the world and you build, you know, the magic system, the story just naturally comes out. So we're gonna work on that a lot today. I need to take my Grimborn poster board down. Well, actually, it's a painting canvas because I didn't have a poster board, but whatever. We're gonna take this down. I'm not gonna throw away those Grimborn notes. I mean, I'll throw some of them away, honestly, because they were stuff that I had written, but I never actually ended up using. So we're gonna clean that out. We're gonna update it with this new story that right now I'm calling it Cloud Jumper. I might end up changing that later on. I might keep it. I honestly don't even know if this is going to be like a series or if this is like a standalone book. When I told my husband this idea, he was like, oh, this should just be like a standalone, maybe a duology. So we'll see. Like, I've written a standalone book before, but then by the time I got to the end of the standalone, I was like, I was like, this is a standalone, I'm not doing anything else with it. But by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, oh, no, this is gonna be a duology, and then there's also like enough in there for me to maybe even write like a novella, like a prequel, almost like novella later on, but whatever, we're not even getting into that right now. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna work on that today. We're gonna do a lot of just like the early prep work for it. And I got a new journal, shout out to my mother-in-law. For this, she got me this new journal around Christmas, so this is going to be our Cloud Jumper journal for now. And yeah, like I said, we're just going to really do a lot of prep work. I'll probably actually be yapping a lot today. I know in a lot of my videos there's like, sometimes I yap a lot, sometimes I don't. I'm probably going to be yapping a lot today because I think best when I'm talking out loud. So yeah. Okay. Step one of making a kick-ass fantasy novel is a Pinterest board. If you don't make Pinterest boards for your novels or like your like writing project, like if you're a writer / author and you don't make a Pinterest board with all your like photo inspiration and just stuff like that, I don't know that I trust you. I'm gonna be honest, okay? Like, I just feel like there's just, I don't know, I feel like making a Pinterest board like helps me have like the visual. I'm a very visual person, okay? So I feel like having it with all of the photos and all of the like, just like different ideas for things, like name ideas and, you know, like setting pictures and stuff or whatever, just like on one board, outfit inspo, like all of this stuff just like really helps me like set the mood and the tone and the vibe of all of the like descriptive visual aspects that like I'm gonna need for the book in there. Like, I can't just keep that in my head, okay? I need like, I don't know, I feel like it's weird. Maybe that's just me, who knows? Okay, I've already started a like, I have a Pinterest board, it's called Fantasy Book Ideas. So every time I see something on Pinterest that I'm like, oh, that's a really cool like visual, that's a really cool image, that's a cool like concept or like name or something, I add it to this board. So now I have to go through this board, find all the stuff that I found that I was like, oh, let me use this for Cloud Jumper, and then make a whole separate board for Cloud Jumper, and then move a bunch of that stuff over so that it like frees up space for like other ideas. I feel like that makes no sense, and you guys are like, that's just really weird, just rename the board you already have. I will not be doing that. Okay, let's look and see what I got. So this is my fantasy book ideas board, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the, like, just that this looks so dope. Like, I already had the idea for like storm magic being something in the book. Like, I really just like the idea of, I don't know, storm, I just keep calling it storm magic, but doesn't that just look awesome? Okay, wait, I already did save that. I want to save that to make a new board. Okay, we're gonna call this board, we're just gonna call it Cloud Jumper. Okay, Yay! Let's go through and let's go find some other stuff. This name, Kaelth? Kaelth? I haven't figured out exactly how to pronounce it yet, but I like his name. I'm just gonna pin a bunch of like name stuff. See, okay, do you see? This is part of my vision, like a ship for pirates, but in the sky. And like space-y, or whatever. I don't like that it's AI modified, I'm gonna be honest. I see that, and I really, really hate that. Oh, and I have an idea that, see, like, look, like, oh my gosh, isn't that so dope? I also had an idea, like, storm magic. Oh my god, I'm getting so distracted. But anyways, I have an idea that our main character, whatever I end up calling her, she's gonna, in the beginning of the book, be like, in the beginning of the book, she's gonna be like in exile. Self-imposed, maybe it's like self-imposed exile. Maybe the government / the crown / the empire is the one that exiled her. I don't know yet, I haven't figured it out, but I just really like the idea of her living like in a lighthouse. Weirdly enough, maybe not weirdly enough, maybe this was just like my brain just latching onto an idea, but I got that idea when I was at a Halsey concert, when I went to the Halsey's Back to the Badlands tour, okay, and Halsey played Lighthouse, and I literally just remember listening to this song, and I was like, this is the theme song for the main character for Cloudjumper, and ever since then, I just, like, the vibe, the lyrics, everything about that song is, I was like, this is so, like, Cloudjumper main character coded, and because of that, I was just like, she has to live in a lighthouse now. Like, she does. No other options. Okay, let me go pin some more stuff, and we'll check back in when the board's done. All right, our Pinterest board is basically complete. We got 49 pins total, and this is kind of our, like, our vibe, okay, our vision. So yeah, a lot of it's really magic, but you know, we got like the other creatures here, like this would be like a dragonborn, like a selkie, you know, this would be like an Asimir here, so yeah, we'll see, we'll go start, it's kind of our vision right now, yeah. Okay, and then, ooh, hold on, camera's being weird. Okay, so we got our vision board kind of down mostly. I'll probably keep adding stuff to it as I go through this whole process. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I like to make a playlist for each book. And I actually got this idea from Rebecca Yaros. So what Rebecca does is she'll make a playlist for her books, kind of like a soundtrack for the book almost, and then as she's like listening to the soundtrack, she like thinks of scenes and then she'll like write it down on like a color-coded note card. I don't have color-coded note cards, I just have blank white cards, but I do love making a playlist, and then when I make the playlists, I'll have different scenes associated with like different songs, and so then as I'm like drafting in the actual book and stuff, I can then listen to that one particular song for that scene, for that chapter that I already had kind of like had an idea for, and then that helps make sure that, like, I don't know, there's some like neuroscience thing behind it, but it like links my brain to thinking about that scene with that song, so then I listen to like one song on a loop until I'm like done writing that chapter. I don't know, maybe that's really weird. I feel like there's like probably some like neuroscientific reasoning behind it that I just don't know, but it's what works. So I'm gonna go make a Spotify playlist, and then we'll clear off my little note card board up here on the wall and start writing some notes, some scenes and ideas down. So I just wanted to show you guys really fast, like the first standalone book that I wrote is called In a Field of Hyacinths. If I ever get around to writing the second book, because you remember I decided to make it a duology, it would be called In a Field of Aster, but like whatever. So this is like the playlist that I made for that book. So every time I was like writing and working about, or even just like thinking about that book, like on the train or whatever, like I would listen to this playlist to help just keep me in the right headspace. This is the playlist that I made for Soul Resonance. So like this playlist is very like fantasy based. Like there's like songs on here by like Taylor Ash, for example, that are like based and inspired by like other romantasy books, and that's because that book is like very, very romantasy, versus the Grimborn series, which I have a lot more like classical stuff on here, you know, like Les Sang, Claude Debussy, like I think I've maybe mispronounced that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, I just have a lot more, like the Nutcracker and Swan Lake suites are on here. Like I just have a lot more classical stuff, and that's because Grimborn as a whole is very more like academia, and I feel like that just fit the vibe. So now, using my Pinterest board, I'm gonna have to figure out what the like vibe of Cloud Jumper is, and then make the playlist kind of fit that vibe. Obviously Lighthouse by Halsey is already on there. Well, like not on there because I haven't made it, but like it should be. Weirdly, I think there's actually a fair amount of, I try to keep songs on my playlist that like don't have words in them. It's easier to like focus when the music doesn't have words. So I try to keep it as like a lot of like instrumentals. But this book, I think I'm going to end up having songs on there that have words in them, just because I know, like, Lighthouse by Halsey, I know I want to put on there. I know I want to put Lonely is the Muse, also by Halsey, on there. So I'm kind of just like, maybe I'll make this a different playlist. Maybe I'll have this one have, like, a couple more songs with lyrics on it, but still try to keep it instrumental. I don't know. Would it be too stereotypical of me to put the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack on there? But specifically that one song, when Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann like kiss for the first time, you know the song I'm talking about. You know, it's like I can't sing it, but you know what I'm talking about. It's like that really like romantic, like emotional, like yay, they're finally together song from, I'm pretty sure it's the third movie. Would it be stereotypical of me? I'm gonna do it anyway. just a few of my notes right now. We have some stuff about our main character, some stuff about our, what's his name? Oh, our, like, male main character, our love interest here, because you know I'm gonna write a romantic subplot. Some stuff about our planet, potential religion, but we're gonna take a break right now and go eat some lunch, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Checking in. It's been about 2 hours since I said I was gonna go eat lunch. I did actually go eat lunch. I didn't just keep working. I had to put my cloak on. It's cold. But anyways, so it's about 2:15 right now. I went to go eat lunch at about 12. So I got back to work at about 12:30. I didn't film because I don't know, I was just like really into it. But anyways, I have some note cards that I had been writing. Stick those back over there. But what I decided to do, just because I don't know, I had so many like thoughts spinning in my head all at one time. So what I decided to do was just to go ahead and start a planning document on the Word, which honestly I probably should have started with, but like whatever, we're here now. So I'll go ahead. I don't have much right now. I'm thinking that it's gonna end up being a duology. Just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of feels like duology. Like my writer friends, you'll get it. Sometimes you get like an idea for a book and like you don't even really have the full story and you're just like, this just feels like it's gonna be a duology. Like, I don't know, it just does. Soul Resonance, when I came up with the idea, I was like, this is gonna be a trilogy. Like, I just knew. But anyways, I'll go ahead and show you what I have. I have some potential book titles for book 1 and book 2. I really like book titles that as you go through the like series or like multiple books come out or whatever, the names are all related to each other. You know, like Jennifer Armen Trout's Harbinger series, like she has like Storm and Fury, Wrath and Ruin, like Guts and Glory, or whatever the third one is. I don't even really remember. But like they're sound similar to each other. Like with the Grimborn series, it's like Soul Resonance, Soul Shadows, Soul Overload. Like it, you know, it's connected. So part of my issue with my original idea of calling the first book Cloud Jumper is I was like, well, the first book's called Cloud Jumper. What the hell is the second book going to be called? And I don't know. So then that led me down a rabbit hole of just coming up with potential titles for book 1 and book 2. And I kind of like all of them, but I also simultaneously kind of hate all of them. I'll show you, okay? It'll make more sense when you see. Okay, so this, oh, let me zoom in a little bit. This is what we got, okay? So, like, we could go with book 1, right? This name Vesper right here, okay, this planet is a binary system, so this would be this is the name of the morning star, and then this is the name of the evening star. So I was like, oh, we could just title book 1 on one star and book 2 on the other star, right? So then I just like Cloud Jumper's here, and then I was like, oh, what if the second one's called Sky Screamer? But I know that that's actually a character in the book Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf, so like I can't actually do that. I need something different. So who knows? I kind of like them all. I kind of hate them all. We're just going to leave them. But then we got into like our world building here, our stars, our moons, and then I just started working on the religion. Ooh, it's really zoomed in on my face. Let me scoot back. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically I've been working for coming up on 4 hours now. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more. I'm probably going to work for only about 30 or 40 more minutes, and then I'm just going to be done for probably the day. I don't typically like to work longer than 4-hour blocks because I feel like after when I start creeping on that 4th hour, I'm just fully like brain fried. I'm just fully fried at that point after I start coming up on that like 4th hour. So I'm have about 30, 40 more minutes I'm gonna work, and then I'm gonna be done for the day, and we'll see where we're at. So I'll check in with you guys around then.